Hey guys, Timeboy61, and today we're going to be taking a look at the patch that came out today, the Trial by Fire update number 3, and we're going to dive into all the details, so stay tuned. So like I said guys, there is a brand new patch for Battlefield 5, and a ton of things are changing. The biggest thing being some of the vehicle stuff. So we're just going to go ahead. I've deleted some things from the patch notes, but I've kept a lot, so I'm just going to go ahead and roll down what I think are some of the important or the bigger changes, and we can go ahead and talk about them and figure out what's what in this new patch. So first up is vehicles. First, fix the Valentine autoloader specialization, which was unintentionally active even when it wasn't selected. After this change, the Valentine Mark 8 tanks without the specialization will see a 10% decrease in rate of fire. I actually noticed this when I was testing the Valentine, so it's good to see that they've fixed this. They also updated the smoke screen effect on the Panzer 38T and Staghorn. The smoke now lasts longer and has a more potential for creative uses. They also made vehicle smoke equipment a bit more useful, increasing the area by 15 to 25%. They've also improved the effects of the 20mm cannon on the 38T and Staghorn, which now have a red or yellow tint depending on if they are HE or AP rounds. The bleed out state is no longer triggered if a player chose to redeploy while they are in the top seat of the Staghorn. They fixed a bug with the Mosquito Mark 6. Third-person crosshair showing the incorrect missile count if the user fired all of them, then switched to first person, then switched back to third person. Tank turret revision. This is another big change. The heavy and medium tanks have had their base turret speed increased, and the power of the upgrade has been reduced from plus 125% turn speed to 115% turn speed. We felt that the base turret speed was too slow, so players were effectively required to pick the turret turn speed upgrade to be competitive. By making this change, we enable more diverse builds without sacrificing the physical feeling of the turrets. This change also applies to the AA tank and tank hunters, though that doesn't really make sense for the tank hunters since they don't really have turrets, but hey, whatever. Ju-88, guess what? Its spotting camera can finally be resupplied, so you know you can use that. Thank God. They're really updating the Blenheim, both of its variants. First off, the bomber variant, it will now have 500 and 1,000 pound bombs instead of 250 and 500 pounds. This change should make the Blenheim more potent as a bomber and a much better match when compared to the Ju-88. Additionally, the extra 40-pound bomb upgrades are now mounted to the fuselage centerline, allowing them for more precise bombing runs. The other Blenheim, the 50 caliber gun upgrade, is being replaced with a nose-mounted 50 cal. Firing high explosive rounds, the HE rounds are more effective against heavy aircraft and have explosive damage against infantry on the ground. This allows the Blenheim to function as a heavy ground attack plane when specialized that way. Fixed bomb carrier, not looking at the proper target when using the Blenheims. A T-mine drop, swap the position of the AP rounds and the landmines on the 38T. Added AP cannon tracers for 20mm AP rounds. Players that use the top gunner position should no longer take as much damage from explosions that are hitting the vehicle, but not directly hitting the top gunner position. So it's a little bit of a survivability upgrade for those top gunners. Improved tank shells to also do damage to certain bushes. Hull gunner positions have been added to the Flak Panzer. I don't know really why it didn't probably need additional defense when it already had so much of its own anti-infantry power, but hey, whatever. Reducing AA damage to fighters by 20%. Lowering the audio volume of tanks that are close to players, and they've also improved the explosion and impact effects from airplanes, machine guns, and cannons. Weapons, gadgets, and specialization fixes. The lady sights are no longer missing a part of their scope when using the Sten. The cooldown for the syringe no longer breaks when entering or exiting a vehicle. They've removed an unintended delay when switching between the primary weapon and sidearm. The syringe should now always be visible when performing a revive. This is a fun one. The M30 drilling, it is now possible to change the firing mode during the first half of a reload, which means you can finally fire off your two shots of shotgun, and if you miss, you could try, or if you need to finish someone off really quickly, you can try to go for that rifle bullet. That should make that gun a little more usable and kind of more fun. They also changed the way camera recoil works. When firing, weapons are now allowed to go a bit more off-center. The true point of aim will follow the weapon and is not fixed to the center of the screen. This change was kind of included in earlier update notes, but it was never implemented. So this is going to be a big kind of change to recoil systems in the game. SMGs and assault rifles, they changed the way dispersion works. So basically, if you have a slower firing weapon, those later bullets are going to be more predictable as to where they're going, meaning that short bursts are going to be a bit more effective than long bursts or mag dumps. This was also noted in the past update, but it was just never implemented. They're increasing smoke thickness and coverage for them. They've improved the netcode for bullet trajectories to prevent tracers and the actual bullets from being out of sync when you're playing Firestorm. Players no longer get damaged by AA fire if the projectile detonates close by on a teammate. Improved the animation when the player uses a bipod on the Bren. AT mines now do damage to vehicles even if the vehicle is upside down. Who knew that was a way to prevent from being hit by landmines? Improved explosive damage to do more consistent damage to moving targets. This makes it more predictable in scenarios like using dynamite against fast moving vehicles. And made shooting through barbed wire more consistent. Soldier fixes, the biggest one is going to be the landing roll update. During the past few months, they've received a lot of feedback from players about the landing roll feature introduced in Battlefield 5, more specifically the frustration of not having any control over it, to the point where players would just do their best to avoid a vault over obstacles that would result in a landing roll. So with this update, they're giving players full control over the landing roll. The goal is to make an interesting choice while traversing the world. Landing rolls aren't tied to vault animations anymore. They can be triggered by pressing the crouch button when hitting the ground. Players can trigger a landing roll if they hit the ground from a high enough fall. However, attempting a landing roll after a fall from a height that would normally be deadly will not be possible. A landing roll reduces any fall damage that you would have gotten by 40 HP. The first person landing roll animation also has been updated to be a little bit quicker. This gives you an interesting kind of choice. Do you want to drop down, take the damage, but be able to immediately fight? Or do you want to roll and not take as much damage, but then be vulnerable to the enemy? Some other soldier updates. Disabled the vault fail hand reach animation when player is moving with enough speed. This will reduce the number of times we actually get that animation. Players can now be revived after getting killed in a vehicle while playing Firestorm, Combined Arms, and multiplayer. Suppression no longer delays activation of passive healing. I didn't even know it did that. We introduced a healing effect that will only be visible at the edges of a screen when the player is currently healing from any sources. Improved how soldiers hold their weapons while parachuting to decrease the risk of weapon clipping through the body. And now the grenade throw animation can be played if a player tries to throw a grenade while they have weapons and stuff out. Then there's a bunch of fixes to some general maps things just to make things look a little bit better and to fix some of those parts where you could fall through the map or hide in the geometry of the map. Then the Battle of Hunut Grand Operation is getting some balance changes. They've kind of made some changes just to try to keep everything, to make it more balanced, to hopefully let the attacking team win a little bit more. So if you are interested and you play Grand Operations a lot, you are probably going to see some significant changes there. Firestorm, they're improving the victory screen. They fixed an issue that was letting players leave and then rejoin the squads. You can now use your weapons and gadgets while you're in the Schwimmwagen. They've increased the number of armor plates from 3 to 5, which is okay, but it still doesn't really fix the base armor situation, which is It kind of makes Firestorm hard to play. The health of soldiers that are downed is being increased from 200 to 300, so that's going to be interesting, especially because you can fire your pistol while you're downed, so you have the chance to do you have a little bit more time to do damage to the enemy, which is going to be kind of annoying. They've rebalanced the amount of XP given so that it's more competitive with the other modes. So if you're good in Firestorm, you should be able to rank up just as quickly as if you were playing a regular game of Battlefield. And then some UI and other updates. They fixed an issue that would cause soldiers' stance icon to overlap with itself. Combined Arms now has matchmaking functionality, which is going to be huge. I know you probably haven't played Combined Arms in a while, but next week's Tides of War challenges, or I should say this Thursday's Tides of War challenges, a lot of them revolve around Combined Arms, so this is going to be a very important new feature. Tides of War, the chapter rewards now take you to your last reward unlocked, which is great. You don't have to scroll through everything anymore. Vehicles associated with career rank also unlock when playing Firestorm. Players are now dealt damage and are killed by the enemy if they are caught in a vehicle getting destroyed while the exit animation is playing. That way you don't have those weird ghost frames where you just miraculously survive the exploding tank somehow. Added a camera shake slider in advanced gameplay options to allow players to scale strength of shakes between 50 and 100%. The default is set to 75. you should probably just go in there and do it to 50%. Or if you want some cinematic fun, 100%. It's really up to you. And finally, probably the most important patch note that is in this. Did you know that many Swedish pizzerias sell a pizza with grilled chicken, banana, peanuts, and curry sauce? It's a much better option than pineapple. So yeah, guys, that is pretty much all of the important update notes for Battlefield 5. Definitely some interesting ones coming down the pipeline. I'm very interested. What do you guys think? I can't wait to play it. What are your favorite changes? Let me know down in the comments below, guys. My name is TommyBoy601. I hope you have a great rest of your day. See ya.